Hey guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel, Political Demon. So recently, I think you have all seen the news that Gaza war has ended, and all the hostage exchanges or the hostage bodies that were held by Hamas, right? So they have been returned to Israel, and whatever the remaining bodies that the Hamas had, they are clearly stating that they are not in a position to give those bodies away. So what is this whole story about the Israeli and the Hamas conflict? So let us look into it. And what is the role of US President Donald Trump in ending this war? Yeah. So let's also look into all that aspects. So starting off with the timeline, you can say that on October 7, 2023, so that is when particularly Hamas captured a few hostages. A totaling number of 251 hostages were taken. So this number is just arbitrary, right? There could have been more, there could have been less, but on the notes or on the books, it is 251 hostages, out of which 186 were Israeli civilians, and the rest 33 were Israeli soldiers, and the other 32 were foreign nationals. So these 33 Israeli soldiers, I believe that they must have been killed instantly, right? Yeah. So after that, what happened? October 7, they were taken as hostages, and later on, as the days rolled on, in October 2023 itself, there were first few hostages that were released by Hamas. So two of the hostages were released on that particular day, and after this, the exchange continued. Right, some of the bodies were given, some of the hostages were released. Red Cross had to intervene, right? So yeah, the Red Cross is the conservator of humanity, or whenever there is a humanitarian aid, the Red Cross will step in. Yeah. So that is what happened. In this exchange of bodies, the Red Cross played a role of identifying the bodies and transferring the bodies. So in between, what happened here? So like some of the bodies were not identified, or some of the bodies were not been able to be related to the hostages. So all these mix-up happened, and Israel was not really happy. And in 2015-23, Israeli soldiers killed three of the hostages, mistaking them to be Hamas people. So, due to the misidentification, three of the hostages were killed by Israel itself. And after that, on August 31, 2024, six bodies of these hostages were found in a tunnel that was related to the Hamas region. And the cause of death, it was gunshots. Yeah. So obviously, that is how Hamas had treated all these hostages. In the books, it looks like all fairy tale that these people were taken hostages, and some of them were released, but they suffered miserably. Yeah. So children, women, they were not given proper food, not a proper place to stay. They died of hunger, sickness, and all that is the cause, right? So after that, February 2025, this is when things started to get a little pressurized, because Shri Bibas, she is the mother, and Yadan Bibas, the father. What happened right here? So there are two children, Ariel Bibas, who is aged 4, and Kishore Bibas, who is aged 9 months. All were taken hostages, but they were killed, right? So 32-year-old woman, along with a 4-year-old child and a 9-month-old child, were killed. Yeah, but their bodies were returned. But when the identification was made from Red Cross, it was identified that one of the bodies was not relating to the hostage. Yeah. So where did the body go, or where did these people go? So it's all nobody knows what happened there. Hamas might have killed them, or they might have been killed somewhere else. They might not have been taken hostage. They might have been killed earlier. So all this confusion. Yeah. So after the February event, October now, what has happened? A few of the bodies have been released, and Red Cross has intervened and demanded to return all the other bodies here. So in all this admits, Trump had already in November, December of 2024 had already stepped and made this publicly, the Hamas has to return the bodies, and it was one of his election agenda also, and one of his foreign policies also. So he publicly declared that if they do not give the bodies, they have a hell lot to pay. So that was his statement back in November, December. But now, October 15, 16, Trump has officially declared the war has ended, right? So he's a big boss, yeah. So he wants to intervene between the Hamas and Israeli, conflict and try to solve it. He played a mediator role, yeah. So, but the question is, how far has a war really ended? So now major attacks have been suppressed, but I don't think the smaller attacks cannot be suppressed. There will be attacks going on against the Hamas from the Israeli side, yeah, because a country as a whole cannot surrender to a rebellious group, yeah. It is not against the conduct of a country, yeah. So that is what is a whole Israeli Hamas conflict and Trump intervention, so that he can play that global leader role and suppress the conflict. Maybe he has done something or work in a way, but who knows what are all the internal treaties that have gone, yeah, what have been given to Hamas or what Israel had to sacrifice. Nobody knows, yeah. But in the end, 251 people suffered, yeah. So children below the age of 4 or 5, even 2 3 months old might have been a casualty, yeah. So this is what humanity has to pay for a war, yeah. So war is not a good end, but what can we do? The world is built on wars and useless economies that never really take you anywhere. So that is it, yeah, for this video. If you like this small video, please hit that subscribe button, yeah. See you in my next vlog. Bye bye, take care.